hopefully you should be able to see my screen. Let's go through the review and then we can move on. So last class we looked at how to create a case with Salesforce support. Deepthi, are you on? So did you get any response from those guys?
No, so far I didn't receive any response from those people.
Okay, so I mean we created on Friday night, not Friday,
Yeah.
Thursday, right? Okay.
On Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, so our case will be lower priority for Salesforce
Yeah.
because I mean we are not any revenue generating for those guys.
What
Yeah, I
about
mean,
this version thing? Like I created the another org and the same thing again.
Oh, it created with version 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know because I don't know how to check the
Oh,
version.
okay. Yeah, I
I
will.
created the new org.
Yeah, I will show you that. So, and I mean, were you able to log in with mobile or still same problem?
Still the same issue.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. Yeah, I mean, for mobile one, so at least if you want to see this, I mean, obviously now it is very tough for you and I think Srish also.
Yeah.
The other way you can try mobile is with trailhead arcs that we create. I mean, most all those should be fine. Just, I mean, now it's a matter of getting some feel for the application. I would say at least try to use trailhead thing just for navigation and all. But I mean, I don't know whether there is any better way. Earlier, we used to have Salesforce simulator. That one Salesforce didn't support. Now it is, I mean, they made it little tricky. So it's you have to use some developers tools to do the simulation. I will see if I can get you some instructions for that. But
Okay, sure.
at least for time being, maybe you may not be able to see the same data when you use the trailhead arc, but at least you see, okay, there are these tabs and the experience is little different. That's what maybe you can observe now, or maybe try creating another arc until you get.
Yeah. Is it
Unfortunately,
important to have that mobile app?
I mean, I want you guys to get a feel because mobile app is going to be very critical. I mean, now the lot of companies will have iPad and also the iPhone or Android phones. And Salesforce main selling point is anything and everything you do on the desktop. It is readily available for desktop. I mean, sorry, mobile. That is a big selling point for companies to take it. Most of the time, you may have to do some extra development to get it ready for mobile. So whereas here it is straight out of the box.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
And I mean, nowadays, I think there are a lot of React applications that we can do, but I believe out of the box declarative tools. I don't know many, lot of other applications, but Salesforce is definitely unique in that sense.
Okay.
So yeah, then yeah, I will show you where it is when I get into the system. And the company profile. So we have seen how to set up the company local. And when I say local, the language and time zone settings and those things, these are on the org level. So potentially you can adjust or override these settings on the user level again. But we have seen the fiscal year settings. We have seen what else we have seen, the currency settings. Basically on the currency wise, we have seen few things. We can enable multiple currencies and also we can enable advanced currency management. So there we can enable, we can see multiple, I mean by dated. So basically from this day to this day, whatever the currency that we want to show it in the system. So those are the things we have seen. And then I think Kishore asked me about how to maintain those. I told you for every pretty much everything Salesforce exposes API. but just to maintain currency, there is no API available. And if you see the link, this is another thing I wanted to show. Last time we have seen the cases, how to create cases. And this is another thing. So here, if you see mass update dated currency rate, there is another one. Okay, this guy, yeah, no API to automate. So let's go through this one first, then we can come back to the other one. So when Salesforce, whenever we notice, okay, there is a functionality gap in Salesforce, Salesforce wants us to create these ideas. So this is a Salesforce website. You go to Salesforce. One, when you see a problem, you create a case. But second, when you see something is missing, and you create you look for ideas if there is anything available, and you just upvote it. So whereas so this one automatic update of exchange rates based on global rates. So this is not a dated one. This is just let's say if you have, as Kishore asked, so if we have a CSV file, how to load it. So right now Salesforce doesn't allow you to do any API based one. You have to just go to API, the web Salesforce setup, and you have to maintain it. And that's the only way from Salesforce. And some customers have problem with it. So we typically go saying, okay, hey, there is I am facing problem. So when I noted it, so basically I just upvoted this. Every upvote will add 10 points here, and Salesforce would look at these points and they see, okay, hey, if at all it goes to there is no threshold, and they look at these things, and if they see, okay, this is simple thing that they can enable, immediately they will enable. Or if the idea is so important and a lot of customers have problem, and obviously this number will go up, and at that time they enable this functionality, and they say, okay, this one is closed. So here someone opened it, I upvoted it, and again if you upvote this guy, and immediately you will see the number will go up by 10 points. And they also write comments, okay, this should be standard, whatever. So whatever, however you feel, you can add these things. And so whenever these things they see it, someone will try to create an app. Say either Salesforce will come up with solution and they will close this guy, or this is a business, let's say there is someone who can solve this problem. They can create an application, and they can post it in the app exchange. So when they post app exchange, let's say if whoever did this thing, so and if they want to make money, and if any customer badly wants this functionality, they can go ahead and buy this thing. And so that way there is money. You can earn money also. If you are able to find a unique problem, and if you can provide solution. So right now this one is a free app, and anyone can go install it and see if it is going to meet your requirements, then you can use it when it is free. When it is a paid one, so obviously you have to buy all that stuff. So that is when you see some gap, so you open idea, and based on Salesforce availability, they will try to deliver that. So that is one thing. Some maybe in interviews and maybe those things you may be able, you may get some questions on this. And then yeah, let's go back to the other one. So so mass updated dated exchange rates. So typically, when we wanted to do, obviously we need to find which object we want to get into to load the data. So if you see here, we briefly talked about a lot of tools. There is a tool called data loader. There are multiple ways you can load the data, because Salesforce exposes the APIs. Once they expose the API, and if your user has access to maintain the data for that particular object, you should be able to proceed. and the key is this guy, dated currency, dated conversion rate. So this is the object you need, and once you have access to that, you should be able to load the data. And typically the other way to find which object it is, when you know functionality that you are trying to do. Let me bring up the so one way to find. So you go to developer console. So this is to find the objects. So you say open. Here, typically you should look for objects. Object is nothing but table, and you can search for conversion or something. So then you should be able to find this. This is how you are able to find objects. And once you know, okay, these are the fields that you can use, and here basically this is the conversion rate, and when is the start date, and potentially what is the pick list. This pick list should be the currency date. That's how you will understand. If you are not sure, so basically you take, you can take the object and you can go to Salesforce. Anything should be okay, either rest or so. All we are interested in is the object reference. So this is where you find more documentation, and mostly developer. It doesn't need to be developer, so admin also can do this thing. And here you will see what is each thing. And here it is USD and pound, JP, Japanese thing, and the date. Those are the bare minimum information that you need to provide when you need to use this API. And the API would support the update operation, and supported call delete, describe a subject, get deleted, get updated, query tree. Yeah, so portals can use this object. Yeah, this I don't see any insert, but this should be because here in the date, in the documentation, since they said it is going to be supported with data loader, so you should be able to load data against that. So that's how you find the documentation for the objects that you need. And you need to know some keyword, or you need to at least should be able to Google it and maybe able to find this.
A quick question, so when you when you are exploring those ideas, and you also mentioned there is we can create apps and we can publish it for some ideas that's being posted. Right? So if you get that app, so what it will be listed in your home screen like an additional app, like for that. It's
Okay. Yeah. It all depends on how the developer or the whoever created this thing enable that thing. So some they decided to, let me open one of those. So so they may be able to enable as app, or they enable this one as a component. So it all depends on how they expose the feature. So this is the app exchange where you submit all those. If at all you create anything, you have to submit in this app exchange, and customers will go search for it, and they can buy it right from there. Let's see. Yeah, the interface has changed recently. Looks like this. Yeah, so Salesforce also releases a lot of things, and some, if at all you like any of those Salesforce ones, you typically are free, I mean, most of them, not everything. And so you can, when you go in here, so you can see how they have, yeah, here you see this one is app. So some of them, they say only component. So that's how you see, or maybe once you install it, you should be able to see that. But typically, before you install itself, you know which one it is. And so here, the application is one. Basically, that application has 6 tabs, and so that's how it has been built. That's how you see this. I mean, you read those things. Does that help?
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, here I think if you see here, it says okay. Yes, code. Let's select query. Yeah, I mean, it says only export. I mean, this is only exporting, but I was hoping, okay, yeah, here it is. Update. Yeah, the operation, you select which operation it is, and the object is same. And so here you would export, I mean, you would show where is that CSV file where you have the new rates, and that's how you load the data into the system. And here basically it also, I mean, typically it supports, I mean, it should support insert and update. And when, well, I mean, once you go in the system, you should be able to see what operations it supports. So yeah, those are the things. Yeah, so I mean, we covered all of this. Anything from last class? Anybody has any questions? Yeah, if no questions, I think let's get into the next one. Yeah. So let's go through this problem. So this is from Chatter. And now we are slowly getting to the user interface thing. And so the question is Noel Larkin. So he is the VP of customer service. So he wanted us to do some work here. And also for that, basically the moment Noah put in a request, so he, the Connor McCoy, so I think he's marketing guy, so he wanted some other information. So what he is asking, so he wanted a lot of details. Basically, customer service agents are doing searching for some cases, their cases, and so he wants us to provide a chart. And also he wanted to get the cases by product, and so he wanted to get the recent cases by the agent. And so he also wants to have a preview of Chatter where the user is mentioned, and today's task and events, and link out to Salesforce trust site. So those are the things that he wanted. Basically, I mean, let's take these as requirements and see if we can build all of those. And the marketing, Connor McKay wants us to create a list view. So let's see these things. So, I mean, before we get into reports, let me give you a little brief introduction about the reports. We create a lot of transactions, leads, opportunities, activities, all that stuff. And whenever we want to go to see some any specific information, we can go to list views, we can see that. But reports another is another thing. So where managers typically go in, so they can check by the user I mean, by their team members, how their team is doing, and how by products, how their company is doing with respect to products. So those kind of things we typically use reports. And every by default, the moment you create an object or anything, Salesforce would expose a report type for that. And also for standard objects like account, contacts, opportunities. So Salesforce by default, they provide some report types and also some reports so that we can leverage those. And the reports, if you, let's say if you have 5-6 reports, and if you put all of them together, so that can become a dashboard. So that's how those things work. And also they wanted all this information on home page. So we go back here, and I mean, I already configured this thing, so I will go through here. I mean, I will show you how you should be able to do that. And when you are on home page, you just go here, setup, and just click on edit page. And I mean, not, end users won't have access to this gear icon, which is set up. Only the admins will have access to that, and end users will only be able to see what we configure. And we call that one as support homepage. And when you first time when you go there, so it may ask you to create the page. You should be able to save it, and then once you are activating, so it will ask you to tell which profile, I mean, which app it should be exposed to. So those are the things you do. And also here, I mean, these are all the items that you can pull into here. And let's say, I mean, I created this report already. So that's why, and here if I say report chart, so if you see here, I mean, this is the report chart component. So I mean, we configure a report first, and for the report, we add a chart, and that one we can expose it here. And I have, I mean, I will find a trailhead thing for this one. So you will be able to follow this in detail later. But for now, so just assume that, okay, there is a page that we are configuring. We already pre-built, there is a report, and we are just adding that report into the dashboard. And when we are adding, so basically you simply drag it and drop it here. That's how you got this guy. So I mean, let me add it just to show you. And then so you have to select which report you want to expose. Basically, because we already created this guy, so we select this one. And if you don't have report, first you have to go to reports and build a report and come back here. That's how you expose that one. And I mean here, so we say what is this thing, and also do you want to show refresh button? So this button, they should be able to click it so that it will refresh that on demand. And this is another report. Same component, you just drag in here, drag it and drop it here, and you configure what parameters you want to show there. And so this is today's events. So this guy is another component. You can simply drag and drop today's events and today's tasks. So that's this guy. And so right on the right hand side, we have this charter feed. And so there, Noah asked us to add a charter feed where that particular user is mentioned. So and that's where you say when you drop in the charter feed, you have option what you, I mean, which one it should by default show you. That's what it is. And that's how this charter feed will show up. And what else we got? Yeah, so this is the other one last. So he wanted us to add a Salesforce trust website link. So that's this guy. So we add all these things. So that's how, I mean, he wanted us to add one status report by agent. I mean, you see this Karanag and all these users, and also you see it is a clickable one. I mean, once we go in, so we can show you how it works, and also it is split by the status. Basically, there are one case open, one case closed. I mean, one case working, one case is new. and that's how it will show the information. And also by product here, the same, I mean, case is same. This one is showing by agent, and this one is showing by by product. And this is the charter. Basically, I mean, you see here there are various components you can drag and drop to build a dashboard. So and if at all you want to build a dashboard with tabs, you can use this guy. And so recent items, I think he also wanted us to add recent items, so you can just add recent items also like this. Let me just I may have added it. Let me add this guy. So recent items, so whatever you recently navigated, you can just navigate across. Let me delete this. And recent items, he asked us to add 5 items to show, and you just say how many you want to show, and immediately this will reflect, and you say save. And to expose this to the page layout, I mean, there are multiple options here. So you can say arg default. Arg default means any user who logs into Salesforce on this instance, so they will get this thing. Whereas app default and the app and profile. So when I say app, I think yeah, you may be knowing. So the app picker you select, and which app, that is the sales app, and which profile. So I assigned this one only for sales system admin and support user, because Noah is a contact center VP, so he wanted this only for the customer service folks. So that's why we assigned. I mean, obviously this should be service app, not even sales. So this is how you add the. So this guy, okay, yeah, I don't see service. I think I didn't expose that one. So you select service, and then the next step, basically, let's say if we want to expose this to online sales also, and I go to here, this is where I select which profile I should assign it to. And when system admin goes to login, and when the system admin select either sales app or sales the new app that I selected, so they will see this home page that we configured. That's how this assignment works. And let's save it. Let's go back. And now, since I'm on sales app, I should be able to see that information, and we just added this recent items, so that one also we are able to see the 5 items. So, and the other one is I mean, let's say if I go to service, and if I go to home page, so I see a different one, quarterly performance assistant here. So this is not the one we configured. This came by default with Salesforce when we create our. And those are various ways. I mean, let's say if I mean, obviously this one should be exposed to service app, and I believe I don't have access to service app. Then once I have it, so potentially, I mean, I don't have means I did not configure it. So once I configure my app, my profile to have service app access, and then we should be able to configure this guy so that that home page will also come apply to this one. Yeah, I mean, there is a trailhead one, so you should be able to practice. I will point out that one once the class is over. And the next one is immediately when Noah asked that question. So the he wants
Srikanth, actually, the project that you sent the previous
same one, right?
Yeah, it's the same one.
Yeah, same one. I think I asked you to do single sign-on and the other one. So these two are the other topics, where one is to create this report and dashboard, and the other one is to create this list view in the same project. So here, I mean, they wanted us to create a list view, technology and manufacturing industries. Other than that, is there any way my team can access simple lists of these industries? So yeah, so he doesn't want the team to go to reports. He wants it to see on the account tab itself. So that's the list view that they wanted us to create, and I mean very straightforward ones. And obviously marketing folks, maybe they will be on the sales app. And you go here and you simply create a new list view. You can say so. Yeah, you can either say all users or maybe share with a public group or those roles and subordinates. So one of, I mean, you will have option to share with, but for now I say all users can access. And the filters, I mean, we want all accounts, and the filter should be on industry field. Industry, and I think he wanted us. This is a pick list, so basically, I mean, whatever the tech, I mean, if he says biotechnology, let's say some environment, so you should be able to select those two and you save it, and if at all there are any accounts, and they should be able to access this quickly. I mean, that's the other thing that they wanted. I mean, these are very frequent requirements that come from business for sure. And sometimes we give access to managers to create list views, and they will create those list views and they expose it for all the users. And it all depends on how company wants to execute this. Sometimes they don't give any access to the end users to create this. The admins would create and share those, but sometimes admins give this access to some of the management so that they can self-serve it. I think this one should be straightforward, but these are the common things that you would be getting as an admin. So now, I mean, we also want to see how we can use calendar and the charter group and mobile app. Mobile app, I believe most of us have seen, I mean, we have installed. And so maybe you may have seen the pin requirements. So the moment you install the app, the moment you can set up your org to access the mobile app, immediately it should have been asked you to set up a pin, and you may have set up 4-letter pin, and I believe this one should be covered already. And we'll see how to create event, I mean straightforward one, and also how to create charter groups, and we will create one charter group and add the directors there. So again, so calendar one is a very important one, especially on the sales side. Yeah, it is very straightforward, and also I want you to check the calendar on the mobile. So just create one event for yourself and go check it out on the mobile app. I believe either it is calendar or some name. You should be able to figure it out, and immediately you will see this on the phone the moment you create. And here again, so you whenever you create an event, typically it is related to some account or contact. So that's the information that you enter here. And here, if you see, if you want to relate this event to multiple people, you should be able to relate one to. Or if you want to relate it to contacts also, you should be able to relate that guy. Yeah, I mean, this is very straightforward when you want to meet the customer and all, so you can set up that one. And I mean, typically, I also want you to see when you create an event, and maybe for this contact, set your email and see whether it sends an email to you. Typically, it should send an email also to the contact, because you are creating an event, and the contact should be knowing that you are interested in meeting that contact during that time. And if you go to, I mean, this is what I want you to change. When you go to this contact, you will see this is the email. So change this email to your personal email and try to create an event and see if it sends an email to your personal email. The moment you create an event from Salesforce, it should go out, send email. So I mean that is the calendar. I mean very important one in Salesforce, and the charter group. So the charter group. I mean you see here you can create yeah. So you can create charter group right from here. And right here, I mean, you can add some information, use it for collaboration or something. And this is the critical one, basically how you set up the charter group. And let's say if you select public, people on your organization can search for the charter groups, and they should be able to find this org, I mean this charter group, and they can request you to add them to the charter group. Whereas if you say private, yeah, and also check these guys. Uh, Public means you should be able to add yourself, and private means they can't even see this guy. And both times you have, I mean, when you select private, you have to add that one. So nobody will be, if the member is not, if somebody is not a member of this group, they should not be able to search and find this charter group. Whereas public, they should be able to find it, but they cannot add themselves. Someone still need to add. So yeah, play with it. And so let's say I create this one as public. And so this is the one when we want the outside people. I mean, mostly these are for internal. And if we want external people to come and collaborate with us, our customers, you can select this guy. But so for now, because it is going to be sales related, so let's keep it like this. And let's see. Not sure what's on this. Yeah, so I mean some thing that you can add, some icon. So whatever is good for you. And here you have to add. So I mean we just created a charter group. We haven't added anybody. So the requirement was asking us to add the sales people. And this guy Alison is VP. So let's make her as the manager. And so the remaining folks, I think they wanted us to add directors. So let's see if there are any sales directors here. So yeah, sales operations director. So we can add, and we can just keep her as member. So member means they can just collaborate. Manager means so she can add more people whenever she needs. So that's differentiation between those. And now, so we only added 2 people. So we want to find some more sales directors. So let's see if we can find anybody here. If we can't find people, so maybe we should go to here. Let's see the directors. So there is Kathy Cooper, US sales director. And let's go back to chat. And I mean, since we just accessed it, so you can find it under recent. And for under users, you can add a cat. You can look for cat. So we just add her, and I mean, I believe they asked us to make all the directors as managers also, so that they can add their managers and maybe other people to collaborate later. So now you see basically Kathy is here, and I mean, they should be able to add more people because Kathy and Alison are the managers of the group. So, and I mean, if you want to post any message, I mean, this message only, I mean, this is a public one, and I believe everyone should be able to see, and if they want to be part of it explicitly, so we can add them. And, and also I think the hashtags and those things, so they also work similarly. And I mean, the hashtags, you can simply click on that, so you can see on that hashtag, so whoever is talking about that, so that way, I mean, this is going to be little interactive. So that's how you use the chatter, and if it is private, I mean, they can't even see. You should be able to add those guys.
Srikanth, quick question.
Yeah.
Likewise, could you also request to join another public channel? Is it possible? Like if you wanted to join another chatter group, public chatter group, so would you be able to request that?
Yeah. So let's say, I mean, let's try to log in as this Jin Chiag. I mean, I didn't quite follow your question. Let's see.
So just I created a group. So
yeah, I created say all sales group. We did not add this user Jin, but she, I think she is a sales user. That's what we have seen, and we will log in as this user now. Yeah, and we need to set up lightning access. We will do that later. Yeah, see, we logged in as Jin, and she's able to see all sales group, and also she can self invite. Actually, I thought I mean, this would force, and let's go back to this group, and they see yeah, all sales, and simply she can join, and immediately she became member. Whereas if we create that group as public group, I mean, please try that one. So when you create public group, I believe they should not be able to see, and the one or maybe they may be able to see, but then they will not be able to add themselves, and so they can only request somebody in the admins to add them. So that's how I think it should work. But there is another one unlisted, and that one won't be able. No one is able to see that one. So those are the differences. I mean, maybe, can you ask your question again?
no, I'm saying that the private, he can't even see those groups. Even under active groups, the private groups won't be listed here. Only those public groups will be listed here, which he can request access.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, maybe I want you to check this one, but we can quickly create a private group and see how. So this time we will say this as private, and so let's save this thing, and we'll skip that guy. And for now, let's not add any. Maybe we will add Alison to this group, and we can make her manager. It's fine. So yeah, the group itself is private, And now let's go back to Jin one more time. I think she will see, but she can't join. Let's see. Yeah, so see, I mean, see here, so basically she is not able to add herself. So here it says ask to join. So now she is requested, and now someone has to approve it, and then only she will be part of that one. So now let's go back. So I mean, right now only two, and there should be a place where it should say the request. Yeah, and also I mean, this will send daily email at the end of the day, or daily once one email. Post. Yeah, I'm trying to see where that request went. Yeah, we should see that request somewhere. Okay, yeah, I think this one. Okay, no, that's not the one. Yeah, I'll check that one. Actually, it should get send an email, and that email saying, okay, someone is waiting to get charter in the group access, and based on that, basically the admins should be able to decide whether to give access or not. Actually, let's try to log in as Allison and see if she got any notification. Yeah, I mean that request should be somewhere here. Yeah, let me check, or if you can figure out, I think that should be fine too. I mean, it should get a notification saying, okay, hey, someone wants to get access. Please allow access.
Okay, got it, got it.
Yeah, actually, let me show you this thing, and it actually went to my email. So it sends an email, and let's actually go to this guy. It will navigate us where the request, we can find that one.
Why did you get an email?
Because I am the admin. I created this guide. So if you see here, so I myself and Alison both are admins. So Alison should have got an email, and I mean my email. If you see my user, and the email address that I mentioned is this guy. So that's why this email got an email basically saying, I mean, all the admins would get that email. And I mean, I was hoping to see in the charter post on that group itself saying, okay, they wanted access, but I mean, I couldn't find that one, but I got an email. That's how I was able to see. But even in here, I mean, the way is you just should allow. Oh, actually, let me log out. Listen.
So Srikanth, when admin creates a group, he becomes part of it, right?
Automatically. I mean, if you want, you can get out of it. Once you assign another manager, I mean, there should be at least one manager on that group. Then the admin can get out of it. Sometimes business may say, okay, even IT people should not be part of those things. So let's say that group that we created is a confidential group, and they ask us to create the group, and immediately and they ask us to make them as managers, and immediately they will throw us out. I mean, or maybe we need to get out of that group because we have no business in that group. Yeah, I mean, the only way I'm seeing is I have to add Jin here, but I thought there is an option to just click approve. That way, that user would automatically go in.
That is what I was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was thinking. But
what I'm just thinking now is,
I mean, that is more logical thing. So. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see it mostly. Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
maybe I'll just try it with some kind of a different user and see whether it's coming under the managed user.
No, I mean, this is how it works. I mean, even if you try.
Default by default you have listed under managed users. So maybe if you try with a different user who has not been under that sales rule or something, probably he might get listed under the managed roles, and then maybe just
give it a shot. I think you have access to the system. I mean, ideally, I mean, I don't think Salesforce would be that dumb to not to show that message.
got it.
Yeah, I mean, this one. Yeah, so sure. I mean, at least it should show me under my charter saying, okay, there is this user trying to get access, and maybe right there. So typically, you should be able to approve it. So yeah. So I believe this one is also part of one of those exercises that on the project. Yeah, so let's go through this knowledge check. So where can an administrator change the organization name and address and default local, default language, and default time zone?
Company information.
Yeah. Yeah, under setup company information, you should be able to find all this, and you would be able to change. That is for the company level, and if you want for individuals, so you can change it. How can an administrator customize a standard fiscal year?
The same thing, like under setup, you'll have fiscal year.
Right. Yeah, potentially we have custom fiscal years, and we can change any month depending on the customer, whatever the fiscal year that they follow, you can change the month. And also, I think based on the quarters also, if you want, we can change those. And if the fiscal year starts on a different date, not only on the October 1st or maybe September 1st, you would be having options to set the starting date also. So which interface setting must be enabled to allow users to edit records directly from list view without navigating away from the page? I think we did not cover this thing in any of the training so far. So in the list view, if you want to enable, basically on the profile, there is, I believe there is a system permission. So mass edit list or something. So you just need to enable that one. That way the user will have access to in the view itself without navigating to the record. So they can manually change, I mean, select multiple records and hit that pencil button and they should be able to change it. And maybe as exercise you should be able to find this one and maybe create a list view, and you should be able to change some I mean, let's say 5-6 records at once. If you want to change a record, I mean, for industry and account from one industry to another account, if you want to change for 5 records at a time, this setting will be very handy. Yeah, you can try that one. I will put it on the chat. How can an administrator customize global search to help users quickly find the information? So this one also we did not cover much, but typically when we search for some account name, let's say only some people should be able to see opportunities, some people should not be able to see opportunities. On the tab settings, if we say tab hidden, potentially they should not be able to search for that object. But they still have access, but when you search on global search, they will not be able to see that information. Yeah, I mean, this one also you can try by changing the app settings. Basically, for your app, you have to change the visibility settings on the tab, and then when you search, when you do global search, so you will not be able to search once you made it as a hidden, but you can still access it from report, but they are asking only from global search point of view if you want to control. So you don't want to, let's say you don't want to bombard users with a lot of records. I mean, this is one way to stop showing a lot of results. And what is the capability of charter? I mean, in general, so can you name some what you have seen?
Helps you communicate within the organization and outside the organization.
Yeah. And I mean, I want you guys to explore. There is something called, I mean, when I configured, so I didn't see unlisted charter group. I don't know whether it is not available for this one. Typically, some orgs will have an option unlisted. I mean, right now, Jin was able to, we created 2 charter groups, and Jin was able to see both of them when she goes and search for those group. And the other one that I said, so the users won't even be able to I mean, see that one. So when you create unlisted, I believe if you don't give anything, maybe that time it may become unlisted. So they can't even see the charter group name when they search for it. Yeah, maybe 3, 4, 5. Please give it a try as I mean, when you have some time. Where can a user view the completed task and past event for an opportunity? Yeah, so usually there is activity history. So an opportunity. These are all the ones that I created. So yeah, typically activity history. So if you have any activity that is past dated one, so you will be able to see under here. So if it is related to that opportunity, so that's how you find that information. So I'll give a little introduction today on the users, and potentially we can we can see more details later. I think I forgot to show. I think it was Deepti, right? So you asked the setting where we see that the mobile app one. So you go to setup. I mean, this is where I showed in the screenshots where you see the app version. You go under app manager. So these are all the apps that were by default came with Salesforce. And if you see here, there is this guy Salesforce for iOS, and this is the Charter iOS. And if you see the manage, here I saw version 22 for mine, and for Deepti I saw version 3. And also the application permissions. This is where I saw more options for me, and for Deepti I saw only few. And this is the OAuth uses. Whenever we try to log into this system from our thing, so basically it shows what are all the ways that we are trying to hit the system. So and so the other way to access this one is OAuth uses. Sorry, OAuth. So OAuth is the open authorization. I think that's what it stands for. And basically it is a protocol how we can allow other systems to connect Salesforce, and this is a generic protocol, so most of the systems follow this thing. And I mean, for this one I connected with my Salesforce CLI from VS Code, and Trailblazer I connected from that one, and these are various ways I connected. Yeah, so that's the one you should look at. Most probably, Shirish, I think yours also should be on some lower versions. I'm guessing that that was the problem here with the mobile OAuth access issue. Yeah, I mean, the next thing is mainly the admins would be involved with these things, setting up users and managing users. And as the employees coming and going out of the system, I mean, company, this is very common task. Some companies automate this process. Yeah, some companies automate how to create users, how to deactivate users. Some companies may still have manual process. And this one is very tough integration. Even I mean, wherever I'm working, so basically there will be a lot of times when we have let's say 10,000 users, and typically when Salesforce comes and analyzes your company, they say, okay, oh, okay, wait, you have 10,000 users, maybe you need maybe at least 10 admins to manage all these users. So I mean, to create and to manage all these users. So basically that's how they say. And I mean, to avoid 10 admins paying yearly, you have to build some integrations automatically. When you hire somebody, HR would create a record for you immediately. That record should come into Salesforce, create user. And so those are all the automations that we need to do, but still sometimes the users may not be able to log into the system, and you have to potentially provide access. That is just login access. Then based on the requirements, you may have some requirements saying, okay, record access. Some people should be seeing able to see some records. Some people shouldn't be seeing some records. So based on those requirements, you will have a lot of work, how to design the system, how to design the user access, all that stuff. And so let's see, I mean, these are various things that are involved while creating a user. When we create a user, obviously the profile is the must thing that you should be able to assign, and role is the optional parameter. But based on the role, let's say I am Chicago user, so I should be assigned to some Chicago role. That way my manager, so maybe he will be under Chicago manager, and then there will be the manager's director, let's say it's Illinois director or somebody. So we will create the hierarchy in such a way that every person will be one level up. The Salesforce, the way if we do that, Salesforce out of the box reporting would work seamlessly. Whenever the manager wants to see how their team is doing, they can simply go create some reports saying, okay, show me my team's reports, and immediately it will show based on their hierarchy, all their subordinates records, how they are doing, all that stuff. So that's, I mean, we'll look into this in the later classes, the roles and subordinates, all that stuff. And profile is the one that we may get into in this thing. We may create one profile. So then there is a public group. If we want to give access to multiple people, and this is very handy thing, we create in some public group, all sales users on public group, and we assign either individual users or by roles. We add all those things, and this will become one public group, and it will be used for charter, or it will be used for report dashboard access. We will see those things. And then there are teams. There is account team and operational teams. So those are the things that we may add users to the users. I mean, add users to the teams. And then there is another concept called queues. Potentially, I mean, mostly on the customer service side, we create users, we assign them to queue, let's say laptop support, and all the cases that are coming for support related for laptops, we route all those cases to the laptop support queue, and we assign some customer service agents to that queue, and they would start getting those cases and they work on those. That's how the queues would work in support scenario. And password policies. When you create a user, obviously you assign a profile to the user, and on the profile you set how many times a user can enter some wrong password. Basically, not enter, after how many times you want to log the record, user record. The reason why we want to log is for security reasons, because someone is trying to uh, enter wrong password and try to get access to the system, maybe after 6-7 attempts, or based on the company requirements, we will log the user. At that time, the user has to reach out to our support team. Then support team will reactivate the user, basically unlock the user. That way, the user can be able to access the system again. And again, so licenses are very costly in Salesforce. For any company, I would say at least it would cost $500 if it is regular Salesforce license. And obviously, every company will negotiate with Salesforce for a better rate, but on the average, it would cost at least $500 for license. And if you have a lot of users, I mean, just think about it. So it will be a lot of money for any customer. And let's say there are 10 users that we typically think, okay, they will be using Salesforce, and we need to check how many times that user is logging into the system, what exactly the user is doing, and we need to check, okay, whether it is worth giving the license to the user. If the user never logged in to the system for about a month, is it worth giving that user license? I mean, those are the things admin would look at and say, decide, okay, at least tell the company this, I mean, so and so users is not using the system. Do we really need to give access? Or maybe when we need to buy another license for another user, maybe can we just swap the license to other guy? And Salesforce license would only work by number of license. Let's say if we say 10, we can give 10 license to any people we want. And it is not like, okay, only these 10 users can get access. It's not like that. That's why if one user leave the company, we take the license back, and immediately when we replace the user with another employee, potentially we give the same license to that user with a different username. So that's how license management works. We have to be very careful about how we are assigning licenses as admin. So let's see this. So yeah, maybe I will talk about this, and I think we will go through the system and create this guy, and after that you can try it on your own also. So here, recruiting team can't access recruiting app that the consultant who did our implementation created for us, and they can see the following objects. Basically, they want a recruiting application, and they want to see applicant, interviewer, and job application position. So those are the things, the tabs that they're expected to see. And looks like somebody worked on it, but they did not expose it on the right access. So we also need to send emails and run reports. Can we get that too? So that is the requirement. And basically here, I mean the same thing on the charter. So this is another screen, and this is the object permissions that they want. Basically, we want to expose applicants. We want to show this interview, basically these tabs, applicant interview, and also they want to give so and so access to these objects. So these guys, for applicants, they don't have delete access, and job applications, nobody should be able to delete it. But positions and interviewer, so they can delete, but not all of them. So those are the things. And also Alison is asking, as we expand our team internationally, we have taken new hires to APAC and EMEA and LTAM. Obviously they will need access to Salesforce. Yeah, so basically here they wanted us to create a new user and assign license in basically Asia Pacific region and the other regions. And Ling, in this case, in this arc, is a HR director or HR manager. And also, I mean, we have seen whenever we logged in, I think we just logged in as Jin, and we saw that it is still classic experience. We need to give lightning experience for that user. Are we okay on time? I can quickly show you this thing, or maybe you can even try on your own. I'll quickly show, and then we can wrap it up, and then you can practice this thing. Is that fine?
Yeah, it's 10:30.
So yeah, so when I mean, the first thing is, so we need to create a profile. I mean, if there is no profile called recruiting, let's see if there is anything. And yeah, there is no recruiting application. So we have two ways. Basically, this is minimum access profile, and maybe in so there is a no access profile. We can select any of those. And let's say we use minimum access. Basically, we start with bare minimum, or we can start with nothing access. So let's use no access. We clone. Basically, I mean, Salesforce, we cannot create a profile directly, so you just need to clone. That's the only option. I don't think there is new option on the top. So yeah, okay, yeah, there is new profile also, but it will ask you to clone which profile you want to clone it from. So the starting point would be, you need to pick one profile which you want to take as a base, and which from there you need to build. So here we say, okay, we want to create a recruiting profile, and we save it, and the license is a Salesforce license. So we created this profile, and we can assign users if we want. but we haven't done yet. So basically under objects, so they want us to create, give up access to applicant. So we take this applicant and we say, so then for applicant, they wanted us to give read, create, edit. So this is the thing that they wanted, and they don't want us to give delete all, no view all, no modify all. So we just wanted us to create and give these permissions. And you see here, so the tab default on. So I forgot that guy. So here this one is default on. And if we don't set this guy, so basically they can see this app, recruiting app, and they won't be able to see the tab. So that's why let's give this default on. And then so there is interviewer object. So interviewer, they want us to give delete also, and the tab access they want to give the default on, and this time we will give delete. Let's save this guy. And then there is a job application, the last one, I mean third one, and they wanted us to make it as first one, basically default on, and no edit, no delete access. So basically what we are saying, so when we create any job application, these guys should be able to read, they should be able to create, they should be able to edit, but they don't, we don't want them to delete the records. That's the permissions that they wanted us to give. And then last one is position. And these requirements, I mean, you will come across very frequently to give take away access. So all these things. I mean, this is the one I talked. So if you give default on or default off, the global search will show this object results. Whereas if you select tab hidden, the global search won't even show that results. And we also will cover later on the field level security, which fields you want them to see. So, and also, I mean, if you see on my slides, you can see that Daniel Garcia, he asked to give for this profile. So there should be whoever is on this profile, those users should be able to run reports and send emails. So, I mean, when you know the permission, you can simply type here, send email, and you should be able to directly go to that one. And here, I mean, obviously, to go up once, and that permission was not given, so you should be able to find that one and give that permission. So with this permission, so they should be able to send emails to customers, and I mean, in this case it is the job applications. And even though we give send email, it is adding additional permission. So that's the screen. Basically, if we don't want to give this access, basically we have to take it back, and that's how this extra security kind of thing. I mean, it prompts you what exactly you are, without your knowledge, what exactly is happening kind of thing. And they also want us to give run reports. So once we give all these things, so I mean, now we need to create a user, and or maybe we need to find one user, assign that user, and also the lightning experience. We need to enable lightning experience. Let me add one user here, or maybe we'll create one brand new user. So we'll create a brand new user for this profile. As you see, since we started from that, so the Salesforce license and profile is recruiting. So let's call this guy as HR. that should be okay. I think this is the one. So this came over from the company default settings. So when we are creating the user, all the local settings will be inherited from the organization. And if we want to basically change it, you can change it later. And this is a federation ID, so typically can be used for single sign-ons. So now, I mean, we will come back to this role little later, but this is not, I mean, even though it shows as required, it is not really required. So the username should be unique across all the organizations. So with this email, my use, I mean, there is another user name in some org. So basically that's why it is complaining. So I just added some extension. So it should be able to take it. So now this user should be, I mean, since I have login access, I should be able to impersonate. And now still it is the classic access. And if you see here, this one, I mean, I don't even see anything here, recruiting. So we created a recruiting app, but I did not assign it to the profile. So let's go back and fix that one. So we created a profile. We gave the object access. Actually, I should have, let me go back to that HR user one more time. So even though we are in classic experience, that user should be able to find those tabs. Yeah, see this interviewer job application and what else? Applicant, and there should be position. So those 4 positions, I mean, the user should be able to access. And I mean, the experience is the classic. Let's fix the access. I mean, the user has access to the objects and tabs, but the experience is not what we want. So on the profile, I mean, most of the things we can do it on profile, and we can also do it do a few things with permission sets to extend some access. Let's go back to recruiting. And here, let's go back. I think this is under system permissions. So if we look for lightning, yeah, I mean, these ones, I think you need to know which permission it is. Since I know it, I am assigning, but when you read the documentation, you will know which permission you need to play with to give some access. So I gave that permission. Now when we log in as Lightning Experience user is assigned, and now if we log in with that HR user again, so that user should have the Lightning access now. So the user got the Lightning Experience access, but we are still missing the recruiting app. I mean, the user only sees these 4 tabs. I mean, these are the apps and these are the tabs. So we didn't fix the app access. So now, I mean, one last time, let's go back and fix that one. And typically, I mean, the way I do these things, as an admin, I log in as incognito mode, and in another one, I log in as the user, and I kind of make the changes there and come back here, reload it, and see whether it is working fine or not. I mean, right now here I'm logged out, logged back in, all that stuff. If you do that incognito mode, that helps with the time. So So the recruiting app. Yeah. And so that one is under app permissions. App permissions. Not app permissions. Assigned. Sorry, assigned apps. The first one. Yeah, if you see here, the default app is a sales app. That's why we were able to see that one. And there is this recruiting app. So this guy. So we did not give access. Now we are giving access to that user. And now this when we save it. Again, if we go back to that HR rep. So now the user is able to see the recruiting app. And typically, because this user function is the recruiting, we can make this app as default. So that we can do for now. So he sees the information that he should be seeing by default. I mean, this is how typically we create the user experience to make it the user to show the user experience that is only needed for the user. That way, I mean, the user will be a little more efficient. Whereas if we show this sales app, I mean, the HR rep seeing all these opportunities, all that stuff may not make much sense. That's why we use different experience. I mean, even this user, since that for that profile, we started off with minimum access profile or no access profile. So that's why the this user doesn't have any access to opportunities or anything right now. That's why the user is not seeing any apps. I mean, the sales app has access to all those opportunities, accounts, all that stuff. But the profile that we assign to this user doesn't have any of that. That's why even the sales, the same app, even though it has all the tab access and all, because the user doesn't have access to those, it is not showing. I mean, if we say now ABC Labs, this user should not be able to see the accounts because we did not give read access on the accounts. That's how it works. I mean, this is the global search configuration we talked about. So, yeah, I mean, we have seen creating user, creating profile, how to control objects, tabs, access. And so this one we will see, I mean, instead of, so maybe tomorrow or maybe you can create another user and assign a role, maybe Asia or somewhere. You create a role, you assign that user to that role, and we can check, I mean, if there are any questions in next class.
Yeah, quick question. In this, what is that one? Like the classic view, when we opened up the app, recruiting app, we did not see the tabs right away, right?
Yeah, I mean, the Salesforce is not putting a lot of effort into that one now. Yeah, I mean, maybe the app that we created by default, it is created in Lightning Experience. That's why it is not giving access to that. But user will always can always go under plus thing, and if the user has access, they can access that.
Okay.
We will look at these things in the next class. Basically, there is a license shortage, and we still want to see if there is anything that we can squeeze out of Salesforce to make sure some other folks can join the charter, only charter. So this one we looked at it. Okay, I think this one is another app that we wanted to, I mean, the admins. Basically, if you see here, this is Salesforce A. Salesforce 1 is for end users, and Salesforce A is for admin app. The admins to create and to deactivate users and all. So basically, they can use that app on the mobile. The admins can do few things. Yeah, we will check the knowledge check in the next class. And I will post some. I think last project has covered some of these today's things. And if there is any class, I mean, I think there is another one that might talk about this creating user and all. I will post for you to practice. Or you can. Sorry.
No, but I was saying okay. I mean, we good.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe I may have gone a little fast, but this should be, you should be able to follow these things as you are working in the systems.
All right, guys. I'll upload the video as soon as I have it. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sampath, I think I lost access. You may have to stop the recording and see.
I can make you host, no problem.
Yeah, please ask host to give you permission to record. Okay, did we not record? Oh, no, it is recording. Okay,